Welcome to Conversations with Dr. Steve. In today's podcast, I want us to look at the question, who is Jesus? When we think of Jesus, we think of someone who is from heaven, someone who is a very great historical figure, and someone with whom it is suggested by many that we must have a relationship with in order to determine our destiny. So the question today would be, who is Jesus to you? To answer this question would require years of discussion to really fully answer the greatness of who Jesus is. So for this podcast, I have chosen to start with the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 1. It reads, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God." Verse 14, "And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth." So we see here, John is writing in a way that shows the greatness and the magnitude of who Jesus is, who Jesus was, and who Jesus always will be. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. This use of the word beginning is not to suggest that God had a beginning. Now track with me here. The past goes back as far as the future goes into the future. This is a very, very powerful concept, a very difficult concept for the human mind to grasp. In fact, it's so big, it's so great, it's so vast that the human mind really can't comprehend it, really can't grasp it in its fullness. But one way to understand it is to accept the reality that just as much as the future has no end, in the sense that there will always be a future, 1,000,000,000,000 years from now, at the end of that 1,000,000,000,000 years, there will still be a future past and beyond 1,000,000,000,000 years. Likewise, if you were to go back 1,000,000,000,000 years into the past, there is still going to be something before 1,000,000,000 years in the past. So just as the future has no end, the past neither has a beginning. The word beginning is used in John chapter 1, verse 1 because of the finiteness, the lack of ability of man to grasp the greatness of God. Jesus always was. Jesus is, and Jesus always will be. So in this short podcast, I want us to begin to grasp an understanding of just how great Jesus is. Jesus is God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. So God becomes a man. He chooses to do that. So when you think of Jesus, you have to think of someone who always has been with God. God always has been. God has no beginning. How could he? Just like the universe. You say, well, the universe had a beginning. If you're going to say that, then you also have to answer the question, well, before the universe began, what was there? Before anything about the universe existed, what existed? Nothing. It's impossible to say that. There is no beginning to the universe. There is no beginning to God. How could there be? How could there be a beginning? To say such a thing is to say that time and space could be put into a box. And here we have time and space in a box. And here is where it began. And we're trying to figure out how it's going to end. So then you have time and space and the existence of the universe in a box. But what's beyond the box? A better analogy is this. You put time, space, and the universe in a picture frame and say, here we have defined the beginning and the existence and the parameters of the universe. Thus, in a sense, we have defined the beginning, the parameters of God. If you think that, and you put that concept in a frame, like a picture in a frame, then what's beyond the frame? What holds the frame up? What wall do you hang a picture of the universe on?